Welcome everybody for Talk of the Town.
All right.
What month is 2026? I know that much.
Yeah, it's
It's February.
2026. Are we still in February?
Man,
Yeah, barely. Yeah,
uh,
Saturday is the end of the month.
and it seemed like just yesterday we did our State of the City address,
Oh yeah,
which
yeah,
was at the beginning of this month.
right.
Um, and we're back here again. Um,
Yeah,
hope everybody's having a good
yep.
2026 so far. It is we're busy here as usual. Just working through all the things we do for the city.
Yeah.
Um,
I haven't been busy at all. So
no,
no,
okay,
no,
well that's good.
no. So yeah,
It's important to maintain balance.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
I can't even imagine how many miles you put on your truck, but
I needed to hear that. Maintain balance.
maintain balance.
There you go.
That's our word, our theme for the day.
Yeah.
So everybody that's joining us, we're doing this one a little bit differently
Yep.
than we've done some of the Talk of the Towns in the past. The beginning of this month, we hosted the State of the City
Yep.
in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and we did live stream that event. So we encourage you to go back and check that out because it's a great presentation, a great representation of what the city does and what we kind of accomplished over the last couple of years, where we're looking at the future. But one of the things we did in that presentation was live questions from the audience.
Right.
We answered a number of those questions, but weren't able to get to all of them because we did have 33 submissions inside the audience, and we got to about 10 of them. So we're going to follow up with the rest of those questions here.
And I might add, all of them were anonymous. So
yes,
you know,
yeah, we didn't ask for names. We want people to be able to ask questions freely.
It's all good.
But we don't. We I mean, the only moderating that we've done is me sitting here reading questions out loud.
And I would encourage you, if you want to, go back and find the State of the City, watch it at your leisure. I mean, it is about the city, but the presentation itself was really and truly. We've called ourselves the community of choice now for quite a few years, and we really put together what does the recipe. How do you do that? How do you become the community of choice? What does that mean? So it's the recipe for success was the presentation, and so it was really fun delivering it. It felt good doing it just because the city itself is such a dynamic place. There's so many great things going on here. There's challenges going on here.
Sure.
So we have great things, we have challenges, we have all those kind of things going on. And the address itself was fun to deliver. Felt good in the moment delivering it. But great information there as well. And then the questions were really good.
They are really
8 or 10 or 12 that we answered that day. We basically ran out of time, but so we wanted to get to more questions.
And it was a nice mix of fun, inquisitive questions as well as some pretty hard hitting ones as well. So we're going to ask these questions here. As you're watching online, feel free to submit comments. We'll be monitoring those as well, and we'll follow up on those after we get through these questions. So with that, we're just going to jump right in here. Okay, so the next one that we had on our list,
and I still haven't seen these
correct.
questions.
Yep, these are a surprise. I'm the only one that's reviewed them so far, so it doesn't make me nervous at all. Okay, so somebody submitted, why do people say you raise taxes? There's more to this. It just says that that isn't true. First of all, it would have been council, right? So that's sort of a question. And then second, taxes haven't been raised in the city. So I don't know how you want to talk about that. If you
so let's talk about it holistically. About number one, to answer the question, why would somebody say that when you're in the middle of political season? Things get said just for political gain. And we all know sometimes in campaigns, things aren't always 100% true. It's how you say things and it's how you position things to make a candidate look bad or good or whatever the case may be. So that's out there. It's there. We've addressed that in that forum. But to answer the question more specifically, the last 3 years we've had incredible pressure on our tax rate for a variety of reasons. The main reason is voter approved projects. So I just want to remind people, when you go to the ballot box and you're being asked to vote on bonds, those projects come with debt,
Mhm.
and that debt has to be paid for, right? So you're not necessarily raising the full amount and paying all of that at one time. You're paying it through a mortgage. You're
Right.
paying it through, debt, and so it does have incredible pressure on our debt service. We talk about
Which is
that.
part of our tax
It's
rate.
part of our tax rate. There's
Yeah.
a portion that goes to debt service and a portion that goes to our general fund.
Mhm.
And so when we go to the voters, we're careful to talk about this could impact your tax rate. This could impact your taxes because theoretically, and I'll back up. So in 2019, the voters proved almost 80 million. It was 79 and a half, 79.8, something like that, $1 million for a variety of things. Our new animal shelter, Fire Station 4,
Pearland Parkway Traffic Circle.
Traffic Circle, some of the stuff over at the fire field, Bailey Road, which is just now completing up. We got some drainage projects in there and the like. So about $80 million worth of projects. Well, you're marshaling through and you're building those projects and you're selling that debt because the voters said go do it. That has upward pressure on your tax bill.
Right. That has to be factored in.
If you didn't have them at all, your tax bill would come down.
Right.
Okay. In addition to that, in 2023, we went to the voters again, and that one was $181 million, if people will recall. The bulk of that, about 60% of that, was drainage.
Yeah.
So
like
105,
106
$106 million in drainage projects, more localized draining. So again, we've already been starting that process of getting those out. So the last 3 budget cycles, we've had tremendous pressure on our tax rate to maintain, and at the same time maintain quality of service,
right?
Police and fire and salaries and those types of things
On the operations and
on the operations side, while at the same time making sure that we're paying the bills
right
on voter approved projects. And so all of that to say, people out there, and at the same time, we've been lowering the tax rate.
Right.
So the last 5 years, we've lowered the tax rate 9 cents at the same time implementing these projects. In theory, well, not in theory, actuality, our tax rate would be even lower had we not had the voter approved projects.
Sure.
So
but you also wouldn't have the benefit of those projects.
Correct. You wouldn't have the benefit of the project. So when people get out there in political season, they say, well, you raise taxes because it could be here. And my retort to that is, number one, I do what the voters ask us to do. If we go to the voters with permission, then we're going to follow through on that. And number two, I don't vote.
Yeah, right.
Since I've been mayor, I haven't voted on a budget and haven't voted on a tax rate. I'm not copying that out. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying when people attribute it to me and me only, that's a little political speak for you.
Got it. So, all right. So let's see. Next one, we sort of had a question like this. I think it's one worth reinforcing. What's been your favorite experience / story as the mayor in the city?
Oh, wow.
So you've been at this for what, 6 years now?
Yeah, 6 years, and you're just asking me that question on the fly. Wow, my favorite experience. What was it? Say it again. My
favorite story or experience as the mayor.
Okay, I have 2 things, and I'm going to put these as kind of 2 categories in one category, and it's not necessarily a single experience because to single out a single experience wouldn't do everything that I do as a mayor really justice, because I love everything that I do as the mayor, even the difficult stuff.
Sure.
Because it comes with the territory, right? But there's 2 things that I really make sure that I try to clear the calendar for if we get these requests. Number one, if any of the schools call and they want you to go into the schools and talk to the students, right?
Yeah.
Especially elementary students, somewhere in that 3rd and 4th grade time frame is when they're starting to learn about government and understanding and all those kind of things. And it is just a blast to go in there and talk about what does the mayor do, what does the city do, and all those kind of things. And quite honestly, the energy that they have, you just walk out and going, okay, I can take on just about anything, when you get through with it. And so it's just fun to be able to have those interactions with, third grade, right?
Yeah.
And then on the flip end of age and people, I get requests from time to time to come and issue a 100th year birthday,
Mm.
celebration and those types of things. And so since I've been mayor, I'd probably have to go back. I'm probably going to get this number wrong, but I probably have done a dozen to 15 of those.
Dang.
And so again, somebody comes in, we've done them almost on the fly where they've done them. We've gotten the request and had like 2 days and we're like, okay, how do we fix the schedule so we can go do it
Yeah.
and everything else. And so it's just because how many times do you have the opportunity to sit in the presence of somebody that's been on this earth for 100 years
Yeah.
and get
Yeah.
behind their eyes
That's
and
wild.
say, tell me and see the experiences and share that moment with their family and everything else. And to that end, I've got a sweet little lady over here at one of our assisted living centers. I have done her 103rd, I've done her 104th, and I've done her 105th.
Golly.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is unreal.
Yeah. And so just a treat to
Yeah.
go in and she in turn, I turned 60 2 years ago. Her family called and they wanted to do something, asked when my birthday was and to Leslie and Megan and so they told them and she made me an Afghan for my birthday.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm curious, have you asked her what her secret to longevity is?
It's keeping busy.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's
to me.
keeping busy. Yeah.
Okay.
She's
Well,
always doing something with her hands, crocheting or
Yeah.
something. And when you shake her hands, they're as soft as can be. Yeah.
That's
So,
really
anyway.
good.
Side note.
That's really great. Okay, next one we had, what's been the biggest challenge of managing growth in Pearland, and how has Pearland responded to
Yeah.
that growth?
And I'll tell you, because I've been at this for quite a long time, and
Mhm.
the biggest challenge is keeping up with it. It's not necessarily managing or is growth coming or not. It's been here. I will tell you, most people really aren't aware of some of the anomalies that happened here that just are again, they're an anomaly. It's just not normal.
Mhm.
In the early 2000s, as Shadow Creek was getting ramped up in that area of our community, they caught a development wave that is not normal.
Mm.
The subprime leasing and all those kind of things.
So right place, right time.
Right place, right time, and they developed way faster because of the market
Mm.
than we expected as the city, even faster than the developers expected. They were turning lots out faster than even their own pro forma thought it would do.
Wow.
And they built that out in almost half the time they thought it would be. So that's an anomaly. It came on fast. They were reacting to the market and doing what they needed to do. At the same time, the city and the governmental entities just cannot move as fast as development can.
Sure.
And so it put a massive strain on infrastructure.
Mhm.
So the biggest challenge in managing any type of growth is how do you stay this far behind the growth? You'll never be in front of it,
Right.
because you've got to have the ad valorem value on the ground to be able to justify projects, right? And
Which provide the infrastructure for the things that are on the ground. Yeah.
correct. And so, I've always told people, the best we will ever do here is stay this far behind.
Sure.
But unfortunately, sometimes you get this far behind.
Yeah.
And so
And then
playing
how do
catch
you
up.
close that gap responsibly?
So how well, a lot of talk with residents and understanding where, what, and how, we got to do things. It should be all about infrastructure.
Yeah.
The city should be responding like kind with roads, water, sewer, drainage, and the like.
Yeah.
And the community has responded to that through bond programs. Again,
Mhm.
there was a bond program in 01, kind of ramping up as all of this growth really started. There was a bond program in 07, which was some of it is a response to some of the growth and knowing more was coming.
Mhm.
Then there wasn't one until 2019. So
Mhm.
you had 12 years there that there was no additional bond programs, because it took a while to do the 07 one.
Yeah.
I want to remind people we had
The
the
housing crisis.
financial
Yeah.
meltdown in
Yeah.
08.
That's
We had
gonna
a
slow
lot
down
of
your-
foreclosures. We had a
Yeah.
lot of foreclosures, not only across the county, but here in town, as a result of subprime lending. And you got to respond to those things. We don't live in a vacuum.
Right.
The city lives in the real world, and so we have to respond to real world things when it happens. And so some of that bond program had to be suspended in order to get through it. It would have been wrong to have moved forward on some of the debt issues and everything else while we were doing all that. We had a hurricane in '08, so we had a hurricane, and Lehman Brothers collapsed in the same weekend.
Wow.
So
That's
we had
crazy.
Hurricane Ike blew in on a Friday,
which had a significant impact on the community.
Huge impact, and then Lehman Brothers collapsed on Monday. So we came through a hurricane into a housing collapse, and so the city had to respond and deal with that. It just pushes some of the things that we have to do. So same thing, whether it's this city or a county or anything else, you know, you've got to be strategic in how you do it.
Sure.
And then you gotta be frank and honest and just upfront with people in the community. Here's how we have to deal with it.
Yep.
And because you'll never have just the cash money to go build a bridge or to go build a road. I would love to be able to do that, but the way tax rates and the tax policy and everything is, you just simply don't have cash to go build a $40 or $50 million road.
Right.
You just don't have that. And so you've got to systematically share with the people, get buy-in. Yes, we need the infrastructure, and then move forward. 2019, like I said, 2023, another bond program. All of that is a response to growth. Some of that's a response to the 2023 bond program. The drainage projects have really been kind of the tail end of a lot of other drainage. So we had drainage in '01, we had drainage in '07, we had drainage in 2019. We had to build a system. Most people aren't aware of that. We had to build an entire detention system throughout our community. And we've been systematically doing that over 20 plus years, to where we now in 2023, we can go and deal with some of the localized flooding issues within a neighborhood, because we built a system.
You need, water.
We built a system for that water to be able to go.
Yeah.
And otherwise we could have gone and done it, but the water would have gone anywhere.
Right.
So you have to work backwards. You have to build a system back to, you know, the localized system. And so those projects will be rolling out, have already been started, but will be rolling out in the subsequent years, which will really bring some relief if we have another Harvey-like, if we have another, you know, major event, so, which we will.
Yeah.
Just a matter of time.
Right. What is your favorite event of the year? That's a good question, I think.
My favorite event of the year, it's Celebration of Freedom. From a city perspective, favorite event. Being in Independence Park with, you know, 15 to 18,000 people in the park, the fireworks, families together, kids running around having a great time. The community itself being together, I think there's something to say about that. And quite frankly, when you were to do a 1 mile radius around that, there's probably almost 50,000 people within a 1 mile radius of Independence Park when the fireworks go up. So there's just something about the whole community setting aside political differences, setting aside religious differences, setting aside all kinds of stuff, and our country coming together and celebrating, you know, our country and who we are. With all of our warts and everything else, but we stand in solidarity during that moment, and there's something about that day that just it's a lot of thrill. It's a lot of, I know there's a tremendous amount of work that goes on putting it together. This year we'll be celebrating 250 years as a country.
Wild.
And those types of things, and so, you know, I remember the bicentennial and in 1976, you know, and all those kind of things. So yes, I'm that old to remember that. But it's pretty cool, that event.
It's always impressive when we put the drone up and see, I mean, just that park can absorb so many people. And I mean, a great example of a bond project that, you know, created a real space for gathering. But this last year was certainly our largest, and you know, this next one being the 250th.
Yeah, it's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah, go ahead and put your chairs out there now. Just kidding. Parks probably doesn't want me to say that, but no, that'll be a really, really good event. Okay, so this one, can we have a provision for recycling closer to apartment complexes that do not have it? I'm not real sure what they
Do our apartment complexes not offer recycling?
That's a good question.
Can we get back on that one?
Yeah, yeah.
We'll figure out how we do that. I
we'll
don't
see if we
know
can
where
follow
we
up.
put that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see if
Since
we
it
can
was
get-
anonymous, we can't get back.
I
on it.
know that's the tricky part about this question.
I would think our apartment complexes would have
Yeah.
recycling.
It said
So-
it had a statement at the end of it said, "I want to encourage neighbors." So
Okay.
that one's a little tricky to answer, maybe. Okay. Next one is entertainment, particularly kids related, needs to grow so we don't fund other cities. More of a statement than a question.
Yep.
But I guess the question would be, how does entertainment play into?
Yeah, it's agree.
Mhm.
Agree. We hear it all the time. We want more entertainment options. I can assure you, from a city perspective, we talk to the development community often about what we can do in the entertainment side of things. And we're really close to Baybrook
Mhm.
and Dave. The Dave and Buster's. Is there Dave and Buster's there? Or
Dave
is
and
it,
Buster Chicken and Pickle.
and some of those things over in that direction. So a lot of those companies won't come here because we're close. We're in their catchment area there. So we kind of get pigeonholed, if you will, in because of where we sit in the Houston area. But it's not because we don't attempt it. It's not because we don't talk about it.
Mhm.
The city itself doesn't build those venues. That's private industry that comes in and build, and so we share it all the time. We're hoping we've got some development activity happening potentially behind Bass Pro Shop
Mhm.
again, and part of what we've been talking to them is some entertainment, family entertainment, those
Mixed
types of
use.
things, mixed use, but family entertainment, entertainment for kids, and those types of things. Being able to come in there.
But it has to make sense for the industry, obviously.
Oh, you don't want to
um,
build it and they go out of business. So
right,
it has to be a market, and it has to make sense financially
Mhm.
for the private side as well as for the public.
Mhm. So this week we have a team of representatives that are in Austin. This question was asked before before this event happened, but the question was, what topics does the city hope to address at Pearland Day in Austin? For those that don't know, it used to be every other year the chamber would facilitate when the Texas legislature was in session, a day, Pearland Day, and representatives would go up there. They'd be recognized on the floor, both floors, and then they would go and visit with representatives and talk about issues that are important to the community from a business perspective, from a local government perspective, all the different things. This is an off year, so different group, smaller group going up
A
there.
little bit smaller, but still a good group. There's about 80, 85 of them.
Yeah. Wow, 85.
Yeah.
Golly, that's amazing. And they're representatives from all over the community.
Right.
So what what do you think they're going to be talking about up there?
Yeah. So, Josh, you're right. So we actually are one of the few communities that don't just go during the legislative session, but also go during the off season, if you will. In the off season, they'll have a little bit more time to actually meet more with chiefs of staff, not necessarily the representatives because they're not there, but the chiefs of staff are there. And they'll also talk and have meetings with some of the agencies. And instead of a 15 or 20-minute meeting, they'll actually have the opportunity to have a more in-depth 45 minutes to an hour, those types of things. I know some of the topics that they really want to address is follow up and continue follow up on mental health. How do we continue to bring a mental health facility into Brazoria County? Last session, they got $5 million going to the Gulf Coast Center to help with some additional studying on making sure that a facility can sustain itself once it's built. So we're not just pumping tax dollars into it to keep it open, but is it self-sustaining? What is the right phasing of that, and the like? But $5 million doesn't build you a facility.
Sure.
It can help you buy some land. It can help you do some other stuff, but it's not going to build the facility. And so, we want to continue to keep that pressure and advocate for, okay, we're doing all of this, but once we do, we've got to have money to build a building. And a hospital like that, it's $1 million a bed. The bed itself doesn't cost $1 million, but
Right.
so if you've got 100 rooms, it's $100 million. If you've got 50 rooms, it's $50 million. And so we want to continue to advocate, as the size of the county is now 410,000 people, and you don't have a mental health facility in it. In fact, your jail is the main mental health facility in the county right now. And so taking up space where we could have people in a hospital setting. So that's number one. Number two, I know that they're advocating continually on water and advocating not just for Pearland, because Pearland has done a tremendous job in securing our water for the future, but not everywhere has. And so we support making sure that we have good legislation in addressing water needs across the state, water needs here, water needs in the rest of Brazoria County and the like. I know another initiative that they're going to continue to talk about is local control. The people who know best are local.
Sure.
They know their communities better than people in Austin, certainly better than agencies in Austin. And so we want to continue to advocate for local control and the like. So they'll have, I think they have a good run of speakers, and then they will make some agency visits and a few legislative visits. And again, they'll be speaking to staff more than they will be the legislators. A lot of people think, well, why waste the time if you're not talking to the legislators? Well, little known secret, that almost every legislator will actually tell you, and that is their chief of staff is golden.
Right.
And so if you really want to accomplish things and establish relationships for the next session, it's getting to know the chiefs of staff.
And a big part of success in local government is the quality of relationships that you have. Being a local municipality, but having neighbors. I mean, we have to be able to be good neighbors and work together. And so it takes good relationships to do that.
And we're always asking and positioning for some additional funding on a few things, roadways, drainage, and the like. And so it's never a bad time to be up there advocating and just being in position for what's coming, might be coming next.
Okay, next question. How will the city help its citizens navigate the city and ease the pending stress associated with the upcoming construction and expansion of 518?
It's a great question. It's going to be a nightmare, to be honest with you. No, seriously, call it what it is. Construction is construction's construction. Construction's, very difficult to deal with. It's disruptive. Number one, we have built both Magnolia and Bailey, and we've now built McCard. So from an east-west, just traveling through situation, those roadways will be able to handle additional traffic, to be able to move traffic off. So if you're needing to travel the community east and west all the way through, and not necessarily stop somewhere in between, use those alternative roadways because they're not under construction, right? So it was real important to us to get McCard finished.
Sure.
So you can do that. At the same time, Smith Ranch Road moving north in that area down there should be complete here soon. They should be opening up both sides of traffic, if not this week, in the next week or so. So that's coming up real quickly. So that'll help people get north to McCard and can travel, east and west to be able to do that. So that, number one, if you're going through, just pick one of the other roads and go, and then learn what roads you can travel there and then move north to Broadway. Like if you're coming to a business, the Randall's Center, upwards to Cullen, use those north-south roadways to get back up to Broadway and avoid as much of the construction traffic as possible.
So explore more of Pearland.
Explore more of Pearland, yeah. Secondly, one of the things that we have been talking about, and we'll get closer, we haven't implemented it yet, but we've got to wait kind of towards the tail end of the construction drawing and design phase, is they'll have a full traffic control plan. And one of the things I've been asking for is making sure in the plan, with TxDOT's help, how we close down, like, because there might be, say, 2 entrances to a shopping center. So we don't want both entrances closed at the same time.
Minimize the impact.
We want to minimize the impact so people can still move in and out. And we want to minimize the impact to the businesses up and down there. Right. And so, but at the same time, TxDOT's notorious for, okay, we'll throw a sign up to go here. Well, that sign's about that big. It's like, how am I supposed to read that? So how do we have some wayfinding so we understand that this is open and that one's closed, but you can still access this business.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of it is in signage, part of it is in, how we do that. And so it's going to be long, it's going to be dirty, it's going to be construction.
Yep.
But when it's finished, it'll be really good for our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is more sort of a question. I think we kind of addressed it with the State of the City presentation, but if you want to touch on it here, it says secret sauce on achieving the ranking of best places to live by U.S. News and World Report.
It's a great question. You don't do that on your own.
Right.
It's
not accidental.
It's partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
It's community. It's engaging the community. And so the secret sauce is really having phenomenal relationships with our ISDs.
Mm-hmm.
Part of a big chunk of that scoring is education, access to education, the quality of education we have in our community. So not only with the ISDs, but with our community colleges and with U of H Clear Lake Pearland campus, having all of that in our community, it just gives us an advantage over so many other people. Partnerships and the great partnerships we have with our healthcare systems, HCA and Memorial Hermann and everything that we have, and of course Kelsey and their home office being here.
Yep.
And what they do, just three big systems that do a great job, and having those relationships there. And then another secret in that whole thing is workforce development and training. Many people aren't aware we have a specialist in our economic development corporation as a staff member that's focused solely on workforce development and establishing those partnerships with the ISDs, with community colleges and the four-year degree plans, and our industry, making sure what do you need as a pipeline of workers to come to work.
Mm-hmm.
And Mo's job is to help facilitate that. And so another big key component of that ranking was access to really good jobs, the skilled workforce that we do have. So all of that, it's not by accident. It takes partnerships to make that happen.
Sure. That kind of dovetails on the next question. What industry sector has demonstrated the greatest commitment to Pearland?
Industry sector.
Mm-hmm.
I would say right now our healthcare systems.
Yep.
I tell people all the time, big business, small business, doesn't really matter. When they ask me, how do we get involved and what's the best way to get involved? And I say, go copy these guys. I won't name all the names because
Sure.
I don't want to leave somebody out, but go copy, what our healthcare systems are doing, integrating into the community and getting involved, because that's what a community commitment is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it takes, if we didn't have businesses here like that, if they didn't commit to the community, there's a ripple effect to that.
It's back and forth, right? We commit to them, they commit to us, and
Yeah.
it just continues to turn through. Right?
What are you most excited about when you get up in the morning, and what things keep you up at night?
Oh gosh, what am I
Deep.
most excited about when I
Who
get up
asked
in the
this
morning?
question?
Who asked
Golly.
that question? Depends on the day.
Sure.
If it's a Saturday and I have nothing to do, I
Mhm.
really look forward to that day. It's a rare day, but it happens. I'm actually here shortly. I'll actually get back to walking in the morning and those types of things. I really haven't in a while, just with other activities that have been going on in my life. So, so I really look forward to that hour, 45 minutes to an hour in the morning. I don't have my phone with me, and it's quiet time and just kind of away, self thoughts and the whole thing. So I look forward to that in the morning. What keeps me up at night? I've been asked this question over the years, and there's three things as a mayor that number one, I never want to see happen. I never want to see these happen, but if they do, I think they're kind of your worst nightmare. And so not that I lose sleep over them, but it's things that wait on you. Number one, we have an officer down. Number two, I have a firefighter that's not coming out of a structure.
Sure.
Okay. And number three, we have a mass shooting, whether it's at a shopping place or a school or, wherever.
Yeah.
And because they're real, they're very real
and unpredictable.
And unpredictable. They can happen at a moment's notice, and that's scary.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, we almost had two of them.
Sure.
Within a couple of months of each other. We had a firefighter that was caught under a collapsed wall for 42 seconds, and he was fully engulfed when they got him out. Has survived that. He's thriving. He's in our fire marshal's office today. Unfortunately, he's not back on a truck,
Sure.
but he's great spirits and doing great. And we committed to him, and I made a commitment to Eddie that we're here.
Yeah.
We're here for the long haul. And but I remember getting that call, and he was on the way to the hospital, and you're just like, so fear number one. And a couple months after that, at the flea market, we had a shooting at the flea market that, had it happened 2 hours earlier in the day,
would have been
could have resulted in multiple. Unfortunately, there was a 10-year-old killed in that deal, and in crossfire. It's really all it was, and which was sad. And could have, again, 2 hours earlier, there would have been way more people in that area. Could have resulted in a lots of loss of life.
Sure.
And so to have both of those within 2 months of each other was a scary moment. And as mayor, emergency management and those types of things, you kick into place and you're on it. With Eddie, it wasn't necessarily, emergency management, but it was just the care and concern of a firefighter that is out there protecting us, and he may not go home that day.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, there's something that's going to keep you up at night.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
This one, I wasn't aware of this, but it said, are the lighted pairs along 288 and 518 working again? So I presume that the lights weren't.
I'm assuming they are. I'm not on 288 at night much.
Yeah. If they aren't, let us know.
Yeah, and
we need to.
We've had problems with some of the electrical out there. We've actually had people cut them, and some things of that nature. So we have to deal with vandalism as well. So.
We kind of already talked about this. It's slightly different. I think this kind of has to do with the headline that we saw a while back, but it says, we consistently hear that the city of Pearland has the highest taxes in Brazoria County and is one of the highest in the state. Can you speak to this? That's I guess the question.
It's a great question. Would love to. What they're referring to, Josh, you know this, what they're referring to is a news story that came out last year, 25, saying that Pearland has, the highest tax burden, in the state and in the nation and all this. We were ranked number 17 in the nation, highest tax burden. Well, okay, that's a great headline,
right?
And it's a headline, okay? And so people only read a headline, and they assume that headline is true, and they assume that headline is talking about the city only.
Right.
So they refer to Pearland, and it's like the city's only. So I'm going to get into some wonkiness now. So just so we set the record straight. Number one, as a city, your mayor and your council have nothing to say about your school tax, your county tax, your mud tax, your drainage district tax. If you live in Harris County, we have nothing to say about your hospital tax.
Right.
We have a medical center.
Yeah.
You got to pay for it.
Right.
Okay. Medical center. Their port has a tax. They've got a early childhood education board at the county level that you have a tax on, and so forth and so on. All of those
basically
taxes,
the majority of your tax bill.
So all of those taxes added up create a burden on people.
Yep.
And so if you actually take the Harris County portion, because they have many more special districts than you do if you're in the Brazoria County portion, or even the sliver that's in Fort Bend County. If you remove the Harris County portion of it, we fall from number 17 to the middle of the pack.
Average.
Yep. Okay. Now, the city tax rate. Ooh, it's the worst in the world. I've heard it, There's 4 cities in the Brazoria County today that have a higher tax rate than the city of Pearland. Okay. I'm just going to name them: Alvin, Brazoria, West Columbia, Sweeney. Those 4. All documented. You can go to the county website. It's all there. Highest tax rate, higher tax rates. Then you have to look and compare. Here's the dangerous thing. When you start comparing cities and their taxes and what they do, you have to compare apples to apples. What do you get for that? So our 63-cent tax, what do you get for that that's different than other cities?
Right.
Okay. There's only a couple of cities in Brazoria County that have a fully paid professional fire department.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Which
one
we
of
do.
them.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously, we're a city of 138,000. We're not a city of 10,000
Mm-hmm.
or 30,000 in the case of Lake Jackson. Okay. So, a lot bigger span, a lot bigger area to cover and the like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you get that. When you talk about, say, Alvin has a professional EMS volunteer fire. You go to some of the other cities, they have neither. They rely on the emergency services district for that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to compare apples to apples, you then have to add in the tax rates for the ESDs
Mm-hmm.
to get an apples to apples comparison. When you do that, Manville has a higher tax rate than us, and Iowa Colonies comes just under ours, right there. Okay. And so I would argue we don't have the highest tax rate, number one, pure, in the county. And then when you go and compare, like people like to compare us to Pasadena. Well, I would love to have Pasadena's tax base, the oil and gas, which we don't have. Secondly, they have a volunteer fire department. City that size has a volunteer fire department. So we can't do that.
Right.
Here's how they're able to do that. All of the plants that are over there have their own fire departments, paid, not on the tax dime, paid for by those companies. Okay. And as a part of their job description, thou shalt be a volunteer for the city. So they're able to get volunteers at the city because it's mandatory in their contracts. We 12, 13 years ago kept having more and more struggle getting volunteers in our fire department. So the city made the decision to build the full-time professional paid staff. So when you go to comparing cities, you got to be real careful. Now across the state, we've gone and looked. There's a dozen to 20 different cities the same size as Pearland with higher tax rates.
Well, and to kind of, not to put too fine a point on it, but when you hear a headline like that, it's easy to latch onto it because I mean that's exactly to your point what headlines are designed to do, and it is so much more complex than that because even comparing similar sized cities, depending on how well their infrastructure is developed and where they are in the state, and I mean all of the different there are so many variables.
Yeah, and I would also argue on the other end is where Pearland has reinvested back into our infrastructure, and as a result of reinvesting back into our infrastructure, we've added value into our community. We've added value to the tax rolls that even people at the county enjoy, and it's driven their tax rates down at the county level. We have approximately 14.5 to 15 billion dollars of taxable value that's in Brazoria County. Our total taxable value is around 17 billion in the city. That includes Harris County and Fort Bend County. So I would argue that we have reinvested back into our community, in our infrastructure, and even replacing old infrastructure, upgrading, which has created more value, which in turn people across our county enjoy a lower tax rate at the county because of that.
Interesting. Okay, next question. What most excites you for Pearland in the next 5 years?
Most excites us?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the potential, and I'll say it, we've talked about this particular area for a while, but we've been meeting with some development entities behind Bass Pro Shop and seeing that corner maybe fully develop into something, not necessarily a lifestyle center, but a total mixed use development out there that can be something that we can be proud of. We think we've got the right developer at the table, and we'll see over the coming months if that grows to fruition. So
cool.
It's going to be fun to watch that. In addition to that, I will say it's not exciting, and because it's not shiny and new and sexy, if you will. But in 28, 29, the TERS in Shadow Creek,
the tax increment
reinvestment zone will end. It'll be done and end. And so good news. We've been talking a lot about taxes, and so when that ends and comes fully onto the tax rolls the way it is, we will see somewhere between a 6 to 10 cent decrease in the tax rate. And I give a broad range because there's several years between now and then, and I don't want to say it's 10 and it end up being 8, and
Right.
I don't want to say 6, and anyway, so 6 to 10 cent drop in the tax rate, and that's huge. That's going to help every business in town.
Yeah.
It's going to help every homeowner in town,
That's,
and help everyone.
10-ish%. I mean, 10 or more.
That's significant.
Yeah.
If you got a 60-cent tax rate, it could drop to 50.
Yeah.
Like you say, that if it's 6, that's a 10%
Yeah.
drop in your rate. It could be more.
Yep.
So
okay. Are there any plans to widen fight between Manville Road and Cullen? New development on 518 is likely to add several stoplights in the area, increasing congestion.
it's not in the short-term plan. I'd have to look at this capital improvements plan to see when that would be. If anything, there's no funding,
Mhm.
currently for it. That would probably, be a future bond program or something of that nature.
Okay. What is it going to take for a park and ride to be considered again?
Ridership.
Mm-hmm.
When it's been tried in the past, it just hasn't had the ridership necessary. We completed a transit needs
Study.
analysis
Yep.
with HGAC about a year ago, and it doesn't really call for one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we take into consideration south of us with what's going on in Manville and Iowa Colony,
Yeah.
and that growth could probably push
Could change that
and
dynamic.
could change some of that dynamic. What that needs analysis did call for was some micro transit. We've had and done a little bit of this for elderly people who can't drive, needing to get to the doctors in the med center, those types of things. There's some services available where they can get micro transit.
Yeah.
We want to be careful going into that because it is a huge dollar commitment.
Sure.
And so we have to be real careful getting off into some of the transit things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And I mean, kind of to that point, like you
And
said,
back up, we would have to find a separate player other than Metro, because we are outside of Metro's service area. So we're not in their taxing area and we're not in their service area. So we would have to find a separate provider
gotcha.
to do that.
A third party.
Right.
And to kind of to your point, the listening piece, listening to what the community needs, where that demand is, comes up in our, we ask the questions in our community survey that we do annually. And then HGAC, specifically Houston Galveston Area Council, did the transit needs assessment. And so, being the community of choice,
Mhm.
Making sure that we're paying attention to what the community's saying they need.
And on the east end of our community, not that we have it in town, but you can go straight up to Fuquay and 45, and they have a
parking ride.
They have a park and ride right there into Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
How has the city of Pearland prepared for emergency preparedness for natural disasters?
How have we prepared?
Mhm.
Okay, it's a great question. So scenario planning, let me put it that way.
Yep.
With Peter and Melanie and that office, kind of
The Office of Emergency
Management, spearheading all of those different components. So preparedness, number one, we have the plans written out so we know what to do. It's not like something happens and we have to go figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's having the preparedness and the plans in place so we understand, okay, it's a hurricane coming, so here it is. It's a tornado, so what do we do? Which is a lot shorter window than obviously if you have a longer lead time with a hurricane or something like
Right.
that. So the best thing is you've got your plans in place up front. Number two, anybody involved in that, from fire, PD, public works, and the like, they know their role in it. They know their role today. If we were to have a hurricane, pop up in the Gulf and it was coming this way, people throughout the enterprise of the city know what their role is going to be, in the midst of it.
Mm-hmm. Because of our dedication to training. And
Right. So the training and everything else. And so in addition to that, every sometime in April every year, we have high water rescue training. Again, just getting that muscle memory up and ready to go. So when storm season hits, we're not training in action. We're actually responding, and that muscle memory is moving forward. So having those exercises throughout the year and scenario planning, and to be honest with you, one of the best things that Peter brings about every single year throughout the organizations. He'll pick a scenario, say it's not a hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'll just pick a scenario. Could be a train derailment.
Yep.
Could be a tornado. It could be a pandemic. It could be, you know, whatever. And there is a tabletop, exercise going through that whole scenario, so we understand what, where, and when, you know, to respond to it.
Yeah. You know, having been through a number of activations, our whole team here, and work together on that. You know, we're certainly most comfortable, I think, responding to hurricanes, because that's the most likely disaster that we face. But we have also activated for, you know, shootings and for planned events. You know, the planned events are a great example of being able to exercise those muscles, because we go through the paperwork, we go through the incident command system structure. There's an incident commander identified, and
the whole incident command structure is phenomenal. We you know, used that for quite a few years now. I'll just tell a story of how proper preparation just paid off, and that is in 2019, is before I even ran for mayor. So in 2019, I became mayor late 2020. But in 2019, a scenario planning, this is where preparedness comes in. Scenario planning was done around an anthrax scare. Remember anthrax, you know, years ago in the mail and all that kind of stuff. And so what do you do? And then part of that is vaccinations and those types of things to save lives, right? So part of the tabletop was going through that whole scenario, setting up a point of distribution and having all of that for an anthrax scare.
Which we are one of the points of dispensing for the county, at our own recreation.
And so what happens months later? We're in the middle of a COVID pandemic. A year after we did the tabletop exercise, we're setting up a point of distribution for COVID shots.
Well, we actually we did a full-scale exercise too, where we handed out Skittles. So what we wanted to stress test was how many vehicles we could process through that point of dispensing, and we had to give them something. So we asked for volunteers, and then we put them through and handed out candy. And I mean, that is an important part of finding our weaknesses in a safe environment, so that we're not, to your point, doing it in real time. Certainly there were still plenty of things to learn. When we went into the vaccine distribution, you know, our first allocation of vaccines, I think, was 1,500 vaccines. And we didn't know we were getting them until, I think, the week or 2 weeks before. And we had to, we didn't want to overwhelm the system, so we had to do it on a sign-up basis. We had to set up a system for that. We had to set up a call center for that. We actually broke our own phone system with the influx of calls that we got on that. And then we had to get the vaccines and have somebody to dispense them. But because of the training and our commitment to it and our commitment to the community, we became an example for the rest of the state in terms of operating efficiently and effectively. One of the first lessons we learned, actually that first day, we set up at the recreation center. That's where our point of dispensing is. The very first day, we backed traffic up to the Bailey Bridge because of how we had the traffic stacked in the parking lot.
Lesson learned.
Police officers
changed on the fly.
They figured out how to redirect the flow of traffic. And
it's important that you do that.
And we are able to stack significantly higher volumes while still processing people through. I think the average time in line was under 10 minutes, if I remember correctly.
And the important part about all of that is, okay, it's over. And even a real action like a hurricane. We did it after Beryl. We've done it after other actions. Is after action report. We sit down and go, what worked, what didn't, what can we get better? How do we need to change the incident command? How do we need to change the scenario in the book and understand what it is we need to do? Because every single one of these incidences will take on a life of their own that you don't necessarily have it written in the book. It's going to happen just like this. So you do have some scenarios on the ground that you've got to make some decisions on the fly.
So we, for those that haven't witnessed an activation or seen how we function, we follow the FEMA Incident Command System structure. It's a standard for emergency response across the country, which was really nice for partnering agencies because we all speak the same language. So that gives us a framework. We have an incident commander, and then we have a structure underneath it, and everybody's identified ideally ahead of time so that we know who's responding to what. And then we have flexibility within that to operate as efficiently, as effectively as possible, and to your point, to learn along the way so that we can respond more effectively next time.
Right.
And then obviously the training in that, we do a class called 0305, which is all hazards incident management. So that's a tabletop exercise where we say, okay, here's a chemical spill or a tornado or whatever the case may be, and then the teams work together to respond to that.
And we from time to time will have a truck overturn in a ditch
Right.
up and down Makawa delivering chemicals.
Yep.
And that's a chemical spill. And I mean, you gotta go just that fast, when that happens. So those things do happen. They're not frequent, but they happen.
Yep.
And so, knowing what to do in the very instant is critical, because sometimes the paralysis of not knowing could be somebody's life.
Absolutely.
So having that, and I keep calling it muscle memory, just knowing in the moment, knowing what that scenario is looking like and knowing immediately what to go and do saves lives. And so the preparation is the key to all of those exercises.
Yeah, from a communications perspective, from a communications perspective, everything that we start with, especially from an emergency perspective, is preservation of life, preservation of property, returning to normal, in that order. Right. And so I think everybody operates from that same mentality. It's a nice unifying point, but it also helps. It prevents us from becoming distracted by things that aren't necessarily that don't serve that mission. And so, speaking of emergency preparedness, we spend a lot of time and energy talking about it because arguably it's the most impactful, important thing we can do for the community.
Right.
Okay. What can citizens do to better our city? I like this question. That's a good question.
Engage. Engage with us, understand and learn, what the city does itself. We have a class every spring. I think it's full, called the University, CITY, University of Pearland. We've had a Citizens Police Academy. We've had a Fire Academy. Citizens Fire Academy for police for years and years and years. Fire Academy for several years now. And this is one that really gets an understanding of the full operations of the city. Know and understand what the city does and more importantly, what we don't do. What we don't handle. But engage through the chamber, engage through your local civic organizations, your HOA, engage with council, engage with city council meetings, come and understand.
I was going to say 6:30 every other Monday, typically second, fourth Monday.
And get to know, kind of how we operate.
Yep.
And then from that, plug in. One of the hopes with the University of Pearland is that we can build people who have more and more applicants, if you will, for our boards and commissions. And it's working. We had several in last year's class end up on boards and commissions. And so, it's a great place to plug in, understand, and then provide your input, provide your expertise, whether it's the Parks Board, Library Board, and the like, planning and zoning board of adjustments, Pearland Economic Development Corporation's board, and the like. So it's a great place to plug in.
This one, we have two more questions here, and then we'll get to any live questions we have. How do you balance foreign investors with security and different moral and ethical concerns as the world changes?
Ask that question again.
How do you balance foreign investors?
Okay.
With security and different moral and ethical concerns as the world changes.
Yeah, I think you have to get to know if somebody's coming in. I can't think of an issue in recent years where we've had, quote, foreign investment, coming in, and in some cases we may not know.
Right.
We may not know, who some of the investors are in a given project or whatever.
Because really, the only thing that comes across the dais are things that are
land use or whatever the case may be, and you know, I don't think we can prohibit, you know, hearing or seeing a zoning case or anything of that case, of that nature, based on, you know, who the investors are. But if it's zoned and they produce something by right, I mean, they can go and do. We can't stop that.
Yep.
But having said that, you know, I think you have to know who's coming in, you know, your backyard and what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be careful. There are forces out there that you know want to do certain things in land and development. You know, we close proximity to Hobby Airport. We need to be real careful who and what is around our own water and wastewater plants and those types of things. There is a security measure that's there, and so we have to be mindful of that. So that's really, you know, so as far as balancing, it's just knowing.
Yep.
And it is hard to know.
Sure.
You know, especially if you have institutional money that comes in and does something. Institutional meaning, you know, they're national, across the nation, you know, groups with deep pockets, and they're coming in and doing a project. It's hard to know who's involved in that.
Yep. Okay. Last question from this list. As most people know, hopefully, you have a pair of bronzed shoes on your desk that belong to Mayor Reed. As a reminder, will you leave a pair of shoes behind, just like Tom Reed did?
Well, I mean, I have tennis shoes on today, but normally I wear boots.
Okay.
And number two, I asked for those shoes of Mayor Reed. And so far, I haven't been asked for.
Okay, I was going to say, so maybe the next mayor, if he asks you for a pair of shoes or boots, you might be.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Those are all the questions we had from.
But here's the sad thing. You know, you can't get them bronzed anywhere in Texas.
Really?
I couldn't find a place in Texas to bronze those.
That's surprising to me.
I couldn't find one in Houston. I couldn't.
Well, I mean, and it is a pretty specific.
There may be one.
Yeah.
I just couldn't find one.
Wild.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Well, if anybody needs to open a bronzing business, I mean, I guess, you know, you might have a client for it. Yeah, I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could make it a reality. We'll see. What do we have any questions come in, Jasmine?
What can we do as a city to add traffic lights or light poles in the 9,000 block of Broadway? We have a lot of car accidents in this area, and I think we could use those lights.
What could we do to add traffic lights? And
so traffic lights or street lights?
Traffic lights.
Traffic lights in the 9,000 block of Broadway.
So
that one is near the Buffalo Wild Wings.
Near Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, right in through there. Okay. So two things. That's, if anything, that's going to be part of TxDOT's scope.
Because that is part of the widening.
That's in the phase one of the widening. Without looking at the schematic, I mean, I don't have it in front of me. There may be some lights through there. I do know that there's, if you come on down past Cullen, there's some areas through there that some proposed new traffic signals are being proposed as part of that. And as far as street lights are concerned, it's a little more spotty through that area. We will be coming back through with our standard street light package that you see on some of the other roadways after TxDOT's finished.
So the first place
CenterPoint
would be to look at the design plans for 518 and see what lights are planned.
I don't have that schematic memorized.
No, yeah. Good
That
question.
was the only question, but someone did note that the lights on the 288 were on.
Oh, good deal. Thank you for commenting on that. So the lights on 288, the pairs are on.
They do happen from time to time, though.
Lights go out sometimes, and we're here to help keep them on.
And again, we have had them cut, so it happens.
Right.
So
part of community maintenance.
Same thing on some of our entryways. They'll get cut from time to time. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so a couple things before we leave. We do have some ballot initiatives in May.
Yeah. That's speaking of citizens getting involved.
Yeah, citizens getting involved. So the voters are going to be asked on a couple of initiatives. In addition to there's a contested mayor's race. Mm-hmm. There's a contested council race for position 3. There's 2 council positions that are uncontested.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition to that, you have 2 special elections. One, we just got finished with the Charter Review Commission, and they have one item that they're putting out to the voters. It's real benign, if you will. It's really more of housekeeping. State law changes from time to time and makes our charter out of compliance. And so instead of going to the voters and saying, can we bring this up to state standard, we're going to put language in the charter that allows for when the state legislature changes things that it automatically makes it compliant.
Yep.
So real kind of a no-brainer. But number two, our fire department through our the local firefighters association has an initiative for civil service. So I would I would ask you to go and get educated on that. In fact, maybe next month we could bring David Tilbury in on this and let him educate what civil service is all about. We've had civil service. It's really protection. It's an employment protection type of thing. And we've had civil service in our Pearland Police Department since the early 80s. And with our new growing professional paid firefighters, they're wanting to get those same protections under civil service. So it'll be good. It's actually a recruiting help. A lot of people go and look if they're going to go to work somewhere, are they under civil service and those types of things. So it's something that I think needs to pass, needs to happen, but it would be good maybe to bring David in and we could do some Q&A and do some education.
And speaking of elections, generally speaking, local elections, especially when there's nothing, on a national level pulling in or I mean, even a state level, turnout is shockingly low traditionally. And local elections have a significant impact on the community.
Correct.
And so we always encourage people to get informed, get engaged, get involved. Voting is a great way for you to contribute to your community. Obviously, make sure you're educated on the things that you're voting about. But that's a great opportunity to do that, and we'd love to see everybody who's registered to vote get out there and put their input in. Another comment or question?
Yes, so they were just wondering, whenever you answered the question about foreign investors, was that in reference to investors out of the city or out of the country?
So the question was, the foreign investor question, was it referencing people out of the city or out of the country? This question didn't specify. It just said.
So it's a difficult question because it honestly, a lot of times you're approached by a developer and we don't necessarily know where their dollars are coming from.
And the question itself just said foreign investors. It didn't specify foreign outside of city limits, foreign outside of the state, foreign outside the country.
Right.
But
even for example, we've got Lonza, in our city over here, gene and cell therapy. Company, manufacturer. They're Swiss company.
Yeah.
So their investment's coming from Switzerland. Where's it coming besides that?
Right.
I'm not sure.
And the largest gene cell manufacturing facility in the country.
Endress & Hauser, same thing. That's a Swiss-based company. So where is that foreign investment? It is.
Right.
And so, so there is a balance on how, what do you do and how do you do that?
Yeah. But as far as questions are concerned, we, asked these anonymously and just kind of took them as they came in. One more.
One last question. What
Sure.
can we do to get Makawa Road looked at for bad potholes south lane of Makawa just over the creek bridge? This is now causing a traffic concern with folks driving in the oncoming lane.
So what can we do about potholes in Makawa?
A couple things. Let me go back to on which side of the bridge?
South lane of Makawa just over the creek bridge.
South lane of Makawa just over the creek bridge.
Okay, a couple things. Makawa is scheduled to be widened, and it's been scheduled now forever. This is a frustration point, so I apologize. TxDOT keeps pushing it. They're in a cash flow situation with TxDOT, so it's been pushed to like 28, could move back to 27. We're finalizing right of way right now out there. Dollars have been set aside for it. So number one, Makawa was scheduled to be widened. Number two, if it's north side of the bridge, that's going to be Harris County and outside the city limits. let's take that one, Jasmine, and send to our experienced team, and have our streets crew take a look at it and get it addressed. If it's on our side, we certainly can. If it's on the other side, we may need to call Precinct 1
Mhm.
and see if we can get it addressed. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we thank you all for joining us again this month.
Yep.
Keep the questions coming in, and I guess we'll see you next month after spring break.
Absolutely. Enjoy your spring break and be
Yeah,
safe.
yeah.
Yeah.